Jillian Bentavale. Girl, I wanted to tell the listeners just a little bit about our process before we started.
Okay.
Because this morning I was watching Tower at like literally 4:30 in the morning when I got up. And a lot of times when I'm watching these documentaries, if something ridiculous happens, I will take a video of it, like a 30-second video, and text it to you, and then
As
we'll
if
laugh.
I haven't already watched it and taken notes about it.
But then I was like texting it, and I was like, this is so funny. And I went to listen to it back on my phone, and I realized I was wearing headphones, and you couldn't hear anything.
Yeah. And then I was like, wait, is it the file I sent you? And had no sense of humor about it because we had like our super was here ripping our kitchen sink out, and it was just like, I was like, what? And then you corrected and you were like, no, you idiot, I can't, like, just reread the text. And I was like, I promise I'll have a sense of humor by 3 o'clock. I swear.
Oh, girl, what are we talking about today?
We are talking about Tower.
Yeah. I have a suggestion.
What?
Can you ding the sound effect to your right? Here's my suggestion.
What?
Today it's a hero bell.
100%.
You guys, we have to have a hero bell, and it's gonna go off like crazy. Because this movie is all about this movie is hero from start to finish.
It's like The Keepers all over again.
Yeah.
Where like something horrible happens, but then you're like, that person's amazing. That person's life changing. Yeah. Wow.
No, and it's like at every single turn, everybody. I mean, you and I both were talking about how we were like crying. I was like screaming at the TV. This movie literally for a minute restored my faith in humanity.
Yeah. Super Hot Husband Mike took a picture of me watching it, crying.
Yeah.
And was like, you should post this in the Facebook group, and I did. It's not a good picture of me, you guys. That's how much I love you and trust that group, where it's really just a heinous photo of me, but it's so real.
I was afraid that my neighbors were going to think that I was dying because I was like literally crying into my computer.
I was in Shakespeare class when it started, and we all ran to the windows of the English building.
Everybody was in a state of panic. It was just chaos.
It's like a battle scene.
There are two different kinds of shots.
Apparently, police are returning to fire now.
My mission was to get into the tower.
I can't make out what you're saying. You keep cutting out now.
There's a guy on top of the tower, and he's shooting at people.
We didn't know who was being killed. People were dying.
There's no report as to who this man may be, or what he's doing up there, or what prompted this apparent madness.
Then what happened?
Then everybody ran.
I just remember looking up at the sky. It was so blue. And just thinking, I guess this is it.
You're gonna be okay.
All right. I guess there's no way around it. We have to just get going.
Okay.
You guys, this is brutal.
It's tough. I mean, I feel like we should have a little bit of a trigger warning here. This was very hard to watch.
It was hard to watch. And I'm going to tell you what else, though, you guys. We are going to, like, laugh at the absurd moments. And, like, that's why you listen to this podcast. We all think that, like, this is the absolute worst thing that could ever possibly happen. We're on everybody's side.
Yeah. I mean, we were both scream sobbing watching this.
Scream sobbing.
The respect is there.
Yeah.
We're being very honorable about it. But, like, you guys, if we don't laugh, we're going to cry and throw ourselves out the
And that's what this podcast is.
Yeah, come on.
So we would never, ever, ever disrespect anybody involved in this.
1,000,000%.
Yeah. Start us off.
All right. So this documentary, first of all, it's animated.
We have to talk about the style, right?
Yeah. It's Waking Life. It's the style of Waking Life. The same guy did it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So it's a style of animation that I was supposed to write down or wanted to write down and I didn't. But it's like where they're actual people on screen and then they're animated over the film.
It's a documentary based on real people who have given interviews, and then the actors are portraying these people, and then the actors are animated.
Right, because this happened August 1st, 1965. 1966. So we
Right.
do meet some of the real people,
Yeah.
heroes.
Yeah.
But then, they're all in college. So
Right.
they had younger actors portray them as if it was August 1st, 1966, telling the story of what happened. And it's seamless from the animation to the real footage.
Right, exactly.
And there is so much footage, though.
Yeah, there is.
There are tons of
and
footage.
it's used so perfectly.
Yeah.
Like the footage, the actual real footage when we see it, I'm thinking of one moment in particular,
Yeah.
is used so perfectly. We'll get there.
So we start off meeting Claire
Yeah.
and her boyfriend. Claire is very pregnant. Her boyfriend, Tom, not the father of the baby, they're just dating.
This amazing story where like they met when she was 6 months pregnant.
It was kind of amazing and wonderful. I don't know, we were just in love. Just really just totally connected to each other.
And we never find out about like the dad or whatever, but
Yeah.
they just like fell in love. And she has this adorable story about how like she felt like in the beginning he was trying to figure out if she was pregnant or chubby.
Yeah. Yeah. They were having a little bit of a fight because he wanted her to get more nutrition and he was really, really concerned about her health. And she is very pregnant.
Yeah.
I mean, very, very pregnant. They leave the coffee house and they're going to put more money in the meter for their car. And then suddenly, like, we're off and running and shots are fired.
And then all of a sudden Claire is just like down.
I just felt this huge jolt. Like I'd stepped on a live wire.
And then also like, so then Tom reaches down. He doesn't know what's happening either. He like reaches down and then there's another shot and then Tom is on the ground.
Tom said,
Baby.
and reached out for me, and then
Yeah, because at this point they're in the middle of, I guess, the quad. It's a completely open space.
Yeah.
It's a very dangerous place to be with a live shooter.
And then like the weirdest thing that in another documentary would have derpy music under it.
Garbage person number one.
Do not ring the hero bell for him.
I am not. Get this bell away from me. I'm throwing it across the room.
What are you doing? Get up from there.
please call a doctor.
Get your books.
He's like, get your books up. Like, pick up your books. Get off the ground.
It's that weird thing where, like, is there no blood? Is there no anything? Like, these kids are just lying there clearly. We'll find out in a minute. One of them's dead. And then she's pregnant and lying there. And this man, and especially in the animation, it doesn't do them any favors. Because the animation of his face, he just looks so, like, annoyed.
Yeah, get your book. Like, pick up your books. Like,
Right.
who the fuck are you? There's a woman, a pregnant woman. Like, I don't know how to stress this anymore, you idiot.
Right.
I hate him.
And then he's sort of like, whatever, and, like, walks away.
I have in my notes big capital letters. What is happening?
I know. Wherever you are, sir, I hope you feel very bad about this.
You better.
All right, so the next thing we see is his paper boy.
Yeah.
And he's on his, like, he talks about how he has, like, the coveted route in Austin.
Right.
I had a paper route around the University of Texas. It was the biggest route in Austin, and everybody wanted to get that route.
He's on his bike with his cousin, and they're sort of, like, riding around. He wasn't supposed to work that day. I hate those stories.
I know, totally one of those stories where, like, that morning he gets a call, the other kid isn't available.
Right.
Yeah, so he picks up his cousin and off they go.
Right. And so all of a sudden he gets shot.
And I heard some sounds, like popping. It sounded like firecrackers.
Okay, now we have to talk about the super hot sort of racist cop.
McCoy. McCoy's the best. I love McCoy.
So the actor who plays him, I looked him up, and the actor is so gorgeous. It's like it's
IMDb'd.
I did. His
McCoy
name
actor.
is Blair or something. This man is so beautiful, and he's got this like Matthew McConaughey thing where he's just like always smoking, but somehow makes it look like super sexy.
He was
hot.
skipping rocks when the call came in,
listening to his country and western,
like leaning up against the sheriff's car, skipping rocks.
Totally.
McCoy.
I was either filling out reports or just taking it easy a little bit. Listening to my radio on the country western.
He becomes a very prominent player in this, but like right now we're just sort of getting his introduction.
Yeah, because he's the first sheriff to be told about it. So the call comes in on the radio and he can't really make out what's happening.
Then the radio called my number and I was trying to make out what they were saying, but it just wasn't coming through.
I can't make out what you're saying. You keep cutting out now.
all he can get out of this is there's something happening at the University of Texas. He doesn't know, but he's a sheriff. He's doing his job. He's just reporting to the University of Texas to what is a living nightmare. Basically.
And like being gorgeous.
Yeah.
So next week we sort of like cut to a newsroom. It's like KTCB, like a radio reporter.
Mm-hmm.
And he's saying how like it was just a regular day.
August 1st. It started out as a typical summer day in Austin, Texas. And it was a day that you sat around, frankly. And we were trying to decide, okay, what do we cover today?
And then they like listen to the police scanner. I don't know if they called it a police scanner in 1966, but the radio.
Yeah.
And now the newsroom is picking up information and they're like talking about it live. As the police are getting information,
Right.
the reporters are broadcasting it to the world.
Right.
Or to Texas, at least.
We had police radios, of course, throughout the newsroom.
We have a shooting or gunshots at the University Tower.
And then within seconds,
We need all units we can at the University Tower.
there's a guy on top of the tower, and he's shooting at people. And they're dispatching officers as best they can to the scene.
Yeah, so just to be clear, what's happening at the University of Texas is there is this big building known as the Tower on campus.
Yeah.
And someone is up in the tower with a sniper rifle sniping at people.
Just taking people out.
Yeah, and there's this open space where Claire and her boyfriend were, where it's like just bare. There are no trees, and it's like the main like thoroughfare. You have to walk by there. So these people are just like such a target.
There's another person we meet here who I don't know if we ever get her name, but she was in Shakespeare class.
Oh, right. Yeah. Yep.
I was in Shakespeare class when it started, and we all ran to the windows of the English building. We just stood there peering out over each other's shoulders.
I love this character because she gets really honest. Like, she gets very honest about who she is as a human.
I love it.
And she sort of is one of the characters we meet all the way through. So we'll come back to Shakespeare student. Just put a pin in that.
Yeah. So we meet co-op guy.
Yes.
Who works at the university co-op across the street and sees that our friend on the paper route has been shot.
Yeah, he thinks he sees a fight. So he's sort of like offhandedly is like, I'm going to go out there and break up this fight. And he gets over there and there's a boy on the ground who's been shot and is bleeding out.
I got across the street and found the boy had been shot.
All right, let's stop this bleeding here.
And so I tried to stop the flow of blood.
You okay? You'll be all right.
I heard reports that I recognized as gunshots, but I could not tell where they were coming from.
How many people do you know, even if it was just a fight, would go across the street from their job and insert themselves to try to help the situation? Nobody.
Can we get a hero ding?
Hero.
Yeah, this is just like hero number one. So my other question is, again, why is it so quiet? This kid has been shot and he's bleeding, and everyone is like, shh. Like it's a hushed tone.
I know.
This movie is very quiet.
Yes.
There's a shooter in a building shooting, and it's like silence. So I don't understand that. It's how you know I wasn't there,
right?
Because
like your hair's on fire. Yeah,
exactly. Like that's how I would have been.
Yeah, there'd be a Patrick-shaped hole and whatever, and in the air you would just be running for the hills.
So now we're back to Claire. She's lying on the pavement. It's 1 billion degrees.
I didn't know at the time, but I was losing a lot of blood. I felt like I was melting. The heat was just deadly. The pavement was so hot that it was burning the backs of my legs.
She has this moment where she talks about how like she sort of feels the baby like slump to the side. This is brutal.
It's absolutely brutal.
I thought that I felt the baby kind of fall to the side. So I thought he probably wasn't alive any longer. You know, by the 8th month, your baby's moving a lot. And after I got shot, the baby never moved.
Why am I drinking water? Why is this not filled? Why don't I have an IV of vodka? I don't understand.
I know, it's horrible.
I came woefully underprepared today.
So now we're back to Hot Cop, and every single line that I've written is like, why is he so hot? He's smoking. Why does that look so hot? He's driving. Why does that look so hot?
Suddenly you just have a thing for guys in sheriff's
I
outfits.
know. Listen, this guy has a Texas Matthew McConaughey vibe.
Yeah. And he says things like, because he shows up and he is just assuming that whatever's happening is already over, probably because nobody's screaming like their hair's on fire. Like, even he's like, feels pretty quiet. Like, it's probably over.
Right.
And he says things like, well, when the law gets there, it's usually over, And I'm like, all right, I see you, Matthew.
I'm drooling.
Yeah.
I know. It's ridiculous.
I thought it was already over with. Lawman gets there, and by then it's usually over with,
Okay. And this is why you call him maybe kind of racist.
Okay, so here's the thing. I keep calling him like hot, maybe racist cop because he talks about how he thinks this is probably a Black Panther situation.
Yeah, well, it is 1966 in Texas. I'm just saying, like, for the just let's give a little context here of what is happening.
Right.
But he says things like,
I just thought there's 1,000 windows up there and 1,000 Black Panthers. A revolution. And the hair just stood up on the back of my neck. And I'm gonna say I was scared. He was bigger than me.
You know what it is, hot racist cop? It's a lone white guy like it always is.
I know. But he's not that. He's not awful. He is. He ends up being amazing.
I guess so.
This one thing is a very questionable thing.
I have to say, when things like this happen, I don't let it go. Like, I always remember it. Even if you end up doing something like super heroic, I'm always like, yeah, but you're
Which he does in about 90 minutes.
I know. But so at this point, and this is like some crazy like technology for the 60s.
I know.
The reporter is like in his car. He says to like have the disc jockey put on some like news music.
Yeah.
And then like throw it to him. And he's like reporting from his car.
Hunched in his car.
Right.
I began my broadcast as I was driving up to the tower.
This is Neil Spelson, Red Rover, on the University of Texas campus.
This is a warning to the citizens of Austin. Stay away from the university area.
There is a sniper on the university tower firing at will.
And he's even interviewing someone, and he's like, all right, get down behind the door.
Right.
And the person is crouching, and the footage is amazing. And this is one of those beautiful times where it's like animation into the real footage.
Totally.
And it's just visually stunning and just like raw and real. And
Yeah.
I'm just like, I can't even believe it.
What else did you see as you came through the campus? Did you see any other injured persons?
There are several people laying out on the mall at this time. 3 of them may be shot, and the others may just be laying there.
And then we meet Martinez.
Heart eye emoji.
Can we get a
hero heart eye emoji for Martinez?
Martinez, who like this is neither here nor there, but he's so gorgeous I can't stand it.
I love him.
I know.
I love him.
So he is just like one of those guys who like, he's talking about how like he's just expecting another routine day.
Right.
I was just expecting another routine day. I had dropped my daughters off at daycare. My wife was at work, and my shift didn't start until 3 p.m.
So he turns on the news and hears the nonsense, and he calls in to see if they need him.
So I got on the telephone.
Police operator?
Hey, this is Martinez. Do they need anybody?
Pardon me?
And I called the station.
This is Martinez. Do they need anybody? Captain Martinez is on. You want him to come out? Yes, sir. He'd like you to come on out if you will. Okay, I'll be right over. Okay, that's at the university.
Oh my God. And then these shenanigans. They put the paperboy in an ambulance and basically drive around like an Uber X to see like who else they can pick up.
I know.
It's like, are you kidding me?
I know.
So they get a call that they're gonna
Uber X.
The ambulance driver got a call. Right around the corner, there was another person that they wanted him to pick up.
And this paperboy who is doing like the sweetest thing where he's holding his cousin's hand.
I know.
The cousin sitting in the front seat.
I know.
They
Put a pin in that too, him and the
know.
cousin. Please.
For sure.
Please.
So they stop the ambulance. And the kids, they just, who knows where the ambulance driver goes. The kid, the paperboy, can see the tower from the ambulance.
Looking out that window, it was just a direct shot. And of course, I'm thinking, if we don't get out of here quick, I'm gonna get shot again.
But at one point, it's like, yes, save everybody, but can we just speed it up just the tiniest
There
bit?
is a reason why in 2017 it's one person per ambulance.
I know. Let's go. Let's keep it moving.
Yeah,
Let's
exactly.
go. But then we hear, this is like another super scary thing, is that like co-op guy realizes he can't get back across the street without being shot.
What does he have to become? A hero.
A hero.
Yeah.
I tried to find a telephone to call my wife. My wife knew it was my lunch hour, and I knew that she would worry. So I knew that if I could make it to the tower, that I could make contact with the store. And my wife.
So we meet Hot Nerd in Glasses.
Two guys playing chess, listening to Top 40.
We were listening to the Top 40 and playing chess in this room.
We interrupt this program to bring you a special bulletin from ABC Radio. Here is
They said somebody was on top of the tower with an air rifle.
Air rifle?
Shooting with an air rifle. Didn't sound dangerous to us, sounded exciting. You want to go check it out?
Yeah, let's go.
They seem like doofuses, these two, because they're like, oh, there's trouble at the college? Let's go down and see what it is.
Yeah, because again, nobody's thinking there's a high-powered sniper rifle picking people off in the tower. Like, that is so not on anyone's mind. So they think it's a little exciting.
Right.
Something's happening on campus.
Can you hand that over for a second?
I would love to.
Because what happens is that this guy becomes hero of the whole thing.
Hero.
Like, sorry, this is your bell. I don't know why I took it from you.
You keep taking it.
But I was like,
is this bell nailed down? Like I said last week.
All right, so do you want to take us through it?
Yeah.
Okay.
So these two boys, they're kind of a little excited, curious about it. Because again, like, it's not on their mind that this horrible thing would be happening.
They're just dumb college boys.
But it hits them really quickly because they're out there and they realize that once they get onto campus, it's just chaos.
We were just walking down the middle of a road and a guy waved at us. Get out, get under cover. Get out of the street. And that was the first time we had that things were bad wrong.
And now it's becoming more madness because the police have arrived and the police are returning fire.
Right.
It's like a battle scene.
It's like, hey, another shot, and another shot. There are two different kinds of shots.
Apparently, police are returning the fire now.
So there are different types of gunshots from different types of guns from all different directions, and nobody knows what the fuck is going on.
So this is where the hot racist cop a little bit shows his colors, because he finds he goes into a room and he's like, does anybody have a gun?
There's a bunch of students and I just hollered out.
Anybody got a rifle?
Some old boy said he did.
Of course, someone's like, I have a rifle. And I'm like, oh, God, this is, Texas. Oh, God.
So what happens is they go up to they get a vantage point from where they can they can't be seen by the shooter, but they can see the shooter. And McCoy leans into the window to get a shot, and he has the wobble.
He's got the wobble.
I took the rifle first, but see, I've never shot a scope. I was raised a poor boy, and 22 is the biggest thing I ever shot. I was shaking, and what it was is, it wasn't a nervous shake. It was the wobble. Yeah, the wobble. I just couldn't get the crosshairs to center in on nothing.
I was like, oh, that's a thing, I guess, when you don't.
That a cop gets in a moment of truth?
But, and then you realize, oh, my God, they were not trained with these weapons at all. Because a sniper is a military weapon.
Right.
Not a police. You know what I mean?
But don't you think you should be a little bit more cool?
1,000,000%.
Yeah.
And then the student's like, I got it. The 18-year-old kid is like, just give me the rifle, please. Just give it to me. Also, an 18-year-old kid has a rifle at school.
I know.
What is happening?
I know.
That boy said he could, and Lord knows he had better eyes than I did.
The student with the rifle asks McCoy, so if I get him in my crosshairs, should I shoot him? And McCoy's like, you shoot the shit out of him.
Yeah.
You shoot the shit out of him.
And then this is really awful. So this is where the cop is looking out the window and he sees his friend Billy, who's another cop. Mm-hmm. Billy gets hit.
Yeah.
And dies, basically.
Yep.
I glanced down and I saw Billy get hit. Billy!
And this is where Shakespeare student was so honest.
So real.
Because she says...
That was the moment that separated the brave people from the scared people. I knew that there was no way that I was going to go out there and help him. I didn't want to get shot. That was a defining moment because I realized I was a coward.
Now, Shakespeare girl, can we give yourself a little credit here?
I couldn't agree more. Because I'll tell you what, right now, before I had a kid...
You would have been gone an hour ago. You wouldn't even be there to be interviewed. You would be...
What are you all still doing there?
Yeah, right. As you're just looking back, just your voice gets just smaller and smaller. But it's just still screeching and high-pitched, and all the dogs are barking. You just hear you screaming and dogs barking. That's it.
That's about what would have happened, yes.
And many people would also like just not know what to do in that situation. And that's okay, you guys.
It's why when we get to like these people, the hero moments that we're going to get to in a few minutes, it's why you're scream crying because it's so selfless and beautiful.
Right.
I do want to just like talk about Billy for a second because he was lost that day and it was devastating. It was absolutely devastating.
Yeah.
I met up with Billy not a couple hours before that. We just talked a little while, just a good old boy conversation. He was gonna quit. He said he was gonna work a couple more months and then he was gonna quit and go back to college, and that's just what he was gonna do. And his wife just had a baby and everything.
The thing that cannot go unsaid, though, is the fact that when Billy got hit, he was standing next to the statue of Jefferson Davis.
Jefferson Davis. Look him up if you don't know. It's a monster. Garbage. Yeah. Whatever the garbage sound is this episode, because this is now the hero bell. So just like, whatever that is, that's the garbage. Whatever. So like... I like don't make that noise ever. I'm not like a fart joke person.
If you had told me that this is how that was going to go, I'd gotten a million years.
What else do I do? I'm not going to, like, you're the screamer in this duo.
That was amazing. That is officially the garbage sound of the episode. I'm sorry.
Oh, boy. All right.
Jefferson Davis, for anybody who doesn't know, was the president of the Confederate States. Can we get a sound effect?
Jeff Sessions is named after him, just saying.
Can we get a...
I hate it. I hate that. What did I start? Oh, my God. So our paperboy friend is like, look, even back then there was a lot of, people want that statue taken down and they don't think it should be there. And he's like, for what it's worth, that statue saved a lot of lives because it was a place for people to take cover.
People say that statue should be taken down. That statue has no place being there because of Jefferson Davis and all he represents. But at least on that day, it gave me a little shelter.
If it had also been a statue of Abraham Lincoln, it would have done the same thing.
Yeah, that hat. Come on. You get more height with the... And he was a very tall person, that Abe. So yeah, absolutely. It just should have been. It should just, instead of...
But like the number of times the Jefferson Davis statue gets mentioned in this documentary, it's almost comical. Like,
I know.
It could not be more timely.
I know. I know.
Yeah.
I know. But really, for what it's worth, if you could take cover, it's like you got to take what you can get.
Yeah.
Like... So sorry. Like I
know.
hate that I'm huddling behind Jefferson Davis, but what
know.
the hell else am I doing? What am I going to do? It is Texas after all.
So now we cut back to Co-op, the guy who like couldn't get back to who saved the paperboy.
Oh yeah.
And this is where he has a great moment, you guys.
So he's trying to get to the tower. He's there. This is a moment that made me laugh, but also was incredibly chilling at the same time.
Yeah.
Because he goes up there. More eye contact is made with the sniper, which is just ridiculous. And he gives him what he calls the Italian digit.
This is not too nice. I took up a position behind a column at the academic center. And I gave him the Italian digit.
And then there's this like beautiful animation of Co-op guy behind like a wall, I guess.
Yeah.
Crouched and just flipping the guy off, just giving him the middle finger. It's amazing.
I know.
And here's what is chilling. The sniper sees that and shoots directly at him.
I know.
And misses.
Yeah.
He fired once at the column and hit it, but he didn't do it again.
So now we're back to Hot Nerd with the glasses. Well, this had started out as a joke, as kind of like, let's see what's going on down there.
Right.
And now he's seeing the bodies, and he's feeling so helpless.
Yeah.
And it was frustrating, I guess. Something has to be done. But if I go out there, I might die.
He's getting that terrifying feeling of like, I know I'm going to do something. I just don't know exactly what it is yet.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to just be a bystander here.
Yeah. And then this is also where we hear from Claire, who is conscious.
Yeah.
On the ground, pregnant, bleeding out, 100 zillion degrees. And she's hearing people around her.
Under the base of the tower, there were a lot of people there. And they were yelling. They were saying, "We've got to help that pregnant woman." And then somebody else yelled out, "No, we've got to help the ones that there's still hope for."
So imagine hearing that, and Claire's just like, well, I guess this is it. This is where it ends for me.
So I thought, well, I probably wasn't going to get help.
But now, this is like, can we just have a prolonged...
Okay, can we? Yes. I know. Guys,
This
it's
is
going
just
to be
gonna
an
go on
hour
forever.
of this. Yeah.
Until my hand hurts. And then I'm just going to fight through it. Because Rita, girl...
You guys, so here's what happens.
I love Rita so much.
I know. So Claire, the pregnant girl, is lying there, and you could not have a more clear shot of a person from the tower.
And that's why people are saying if they run out and help her, they're going to be shot in a second. They might not even make it 4 feet into the middle of the quad before they're shot. That's how easy it is. It's an open space.
Right. And so all of a sudden, this woman appears over Claire.
This like redheaded angel just materializes almost and is just like there.
Please, are you all right? Let me help you. She came up and kind of knelt over me. And her hair, it was red and coming down. Go. Get down.
And just says, I'm here with you now, okay?
And Claire, who's sort of like fading, is like, get down. And so Rita lies down and just like starts talking to Claire. I know, sobbing.
Sobbing.
What's your name? It's Claire. Claire? I'm Rita. I'm here with you now, okay?
And she's like, the whole thing about it is that like she's keeping Claire conscious.
Right.
And Claire says like, thank God, because if I had been unconscious, I don't know what would have happened.
Exactly. And this is also, so we have Claire and Rita talking. And as we're getting this story, we're hearing civilians are taking matters into their own hands. Everyone's bringing their guns. And
Texas.
It's a war zone because there are too many guns.
It was like a war. There were gunshots coming from everywhere.
At one point, I saw a civilian carrying a deer rifle coming from behind me and running toward the tower.
I don't know where these vigilantes came from, but Parliament Hall was filled with civilians with huge guns, and they began to shoot back.
If everyone would just shut up and turn their guns off, and we could turn their guns off. I know nothing about guns. Put the goddamn...
Power your guns down, you guys.
No, right? Like, isn't that how they work?
Unplug your guns.
God.
In this day and age, that would never happen.
No.
You would establish a perimeter or whatever they say on the cop shows.
Sure.
And you would
They
never
switch on the perimeter, right? There's a switch for the perimeter too, isn't there?
But you would never just have civilians with their own guns like taking matters into the... That's insane.
And I don't know I don't know who said it. It might have been super honest Shakespeare student, but someone was like,
There was massive testosterone.
Totally,
right?
that's totally Shakespeare.
Love
Yeah,
it.
totally.
Just like, oh God, isn't there always Jesus Christ? So this is just like Martinez is describing the scene, heart eye emoji Martinez, about just how chaotic it is. Right. And he's just trying to get a game plan.
He makes it clear, because there's no communication. Like, you'd never see the cops on a radio or a walkie-talkie.
Yeah.
Martinez is like, my mission is to get to the tower. So that's where Martinez is going.
Yeah.
My training in the Army had taught me you establish a command post right away. Then you organize an assault team. I thought maybe I could go into the tower and assist the people that were going there.
This is where Claire is basically at the end. She has this beautiful quote, and she's sort of like resigned to like, this is how it's gonna end.
I just remember looking up at the sky. It was so blue. And just thinking, I guess this is it.
So you know how you were saying like hot nerd was just like, I'm going to do something, but I just don't know what?
Yeah.
Now he's doing it.
I knew something had to be done. Someone had to go out there and get him.
And then hot nerd goes for it.
His name is John Fox. Of course it is.
Oh! Can we get a ding? You guys, I cannot explain to you that now he is making the decision that he's going to go rescue Claire.
Mm-hmm.
And he knows that there is the likelihood that when he runs out into this wide open plaza, he's going to get shot. But he's got to do it.
And this is where, as we hear of this is when we see real life Claire. And real life John Fox, and they take over the story, and present day them tell us what happened.
I scream.
We had to move fast. We knew that.
And this is amazing. He says they like run out into the plaza. The first thing they see is a camera.
You can see there was a camera. Time moves strangely, slowly.
there's a person out there with a camera. And as soon as he says that, you see the footage.
Yeah.
You see the actual So you've seen this plaza 100 times in
Right.
the animation, but you've never really seen it in actual footage. You see him running over to Claire, and he describes how they pick her up.
I grabbed Claire's feet. James grabbed Claire's arms.
And we ran them off. We ran her into safety to behind the hedge and set her down. And other people took her where the ambulances were.
Yeah, and he says, I've never been so scared.
I've never been more scared.
I've never been more scared.
And then he has this moment where I felt what he was saying. He was saying how even now, right now, I feel there's a spot on my back.
There's a cold spot that I can feel on my back right now. And when I think about it, it's about the size of a grape. It's all halfway up my spine. It's halfway between my shoulder blades. And it's the place I expected the bullet to come in if I was hit.
And they run Claire to safety.
Yeah.
But then his glasses fall off his face.
As I went down the stairs, the glasses slowly, I was sweating like a pig. The glasses slowly came off my face. Everything was turned into a complete blur for me without those glasses. And I couldn't see a thing.
Hot nerd, leave your glasses. I get it. I understand what it's like to not be able to see things. He goes back for his glasses.
Yeah.
I had to go back out from cover again to pick up my glasses.
And then we meet another guy, Brian Ellison, too, who he was a former Marine. He's the one who picks up Tom's body. Tom's the boyfriend of Claire, who's obviously dead.
Yeah.
And Brian says he was just lifeless.
Just the last one, he was dead. He was dead weight. He was a little hard to pick up, too limp. Not like someone who's knocked out.
Like he was the hard one to carry because he was dead. It's not like somebody who's passed out. Like he was just lifeless.
And the thing is, I think this is so beautiful and telling about this person's character. He could have just left him there to carry a lifeless body.
Right.
Hero.
I know. So now we're at the tower.
Okay.
And Martinez is there, and he's with Co-op. Co-op has made his way to the tower as well. Co-op is basically acting as a cop at this point. So Martinez, who's just getting it done, knows he's got to he's safe, but he's in the tower. He's a cop. It's his job. He's got to go up the stairs, and he's got to.
Like, how many times is the bell going to chime? Like 15 minutes.
I know.
Martinez is like, hello, heart eye emoji. Let's do this.
So then Co-op, just like random T-shirt seller Co-op guy, is like, I'm going to go with you.
I think he actually has a pocket protector.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Knowing I had to walk up those stairs was a lonely feeling.
Where are you going?
Up.
I'm going with you.
So they open the door to the stairwell, and there's just bodies. It's all the people who work there that the sniper had to kill to get up to the outdoor space in the tower.
Yeah.
And, a lot of them are dead. One of them is alive.
There was a young man that was wounded, slumped against the wall, still conscious.
The boy that was at the foot of the stairs saw us. And Martinez and I asked him how many people were shooting. And he replied, 1.
He said, he's outside. And he pointed upstairs.
So this is like a really emotional moment because, Martinez is trained for this. He knows he might die. Co-op just went to work to make coffee and sell pens this morning.
Right.
And now he literally says,
so are we playing for keeps?
And Martinez says,
Damn right we are.
Co-op just goes, well, and that whole just real quick, just pause just real quick.
Right.
I guess you better deputize me then.
And Martinez is like, I'm sorry, what? You're deputized.
But he couldn't believe this guy wasn't a cop.
Right, like what
He's
are you
so
doing
brave
here?
and valiant and all of the things. Yeah,
hero,
totally.
hero.
Totally.
I looked at him and I thought he was an officer from some other agency. Consider yourself deputized.
So now they're working their way out into the outdoor space, and you see the footage of the outdoor space, and it's not that big. And here's the thing: it's Martinez goes out, and Co-op is staying in the indoor space, and then other cops are coming into the room, and I'm like, they don't know Co-op. How do they know he's not the shooter? It seems like there could have been a lot more confusion.
100%. And yeah, McCoy is now up there.
McCoy's the hot, maybe racist cop,
right? And now this is when I'm really just full on sobbing. The picture that Mike took of me, candid, is this, because they're playing that song Claire de Lune, right?
Yeah.
So it's this, like, some people could maybe say it's super emotionally manipulative. Whatever. These
Right.
people
We're
are
all here
beautiful.
for that.
Yeah, these people are beautiful humans. Give them the beautiful music for what they did. It's like co-op guy is just like, I'm a deputy. Like, come on.
Right.
These
Yeah.
people are
Yeah.
amazing, amazing humans.
Yeah.
And they're all like, there are these quotes where, you know, McCoy says,
Time's passing, but you don't feel like time's passing. Do you understand that?
if you weren't there, you can't understand.
Right,
it. You
right.
just- you
and they're
can't.
all talking about their relationship to fear in that moment.
Yeah.
There was no time to think about fear. Now, I'd be a fool or I'd be a liar if I would say I was not scared. I was scared. But you put that behind you. You cannot have fear in front of you and do your job.
The other thing to remember is that there's gunfire coming from everywhere.
Everywhere.
So there's like all the police and the vigilantes on the ground, and then the actual sniper. So McCoy and Martinez round that corner and they see him, and McCoy just like says he unloads his whole pistol.
I emptied my gun.
Then Martinez literally turns around and takes McCoy's shotgun.
McCoy was pretty close. I grabbed that shotgun from McCoy, and I shot him one more time as he was hitting the ground.
The other thing that's so apparent to me is that there's no communication between the cops up on the tower and down on the ground. You know, so even when the shooter is down, there's still no one. All the fire from the ground is still coming up because they can't explain that the shooter's down.
Yeah.
So Co-op takes his white handkerchief, and he's waving it.
I waved my handkerchief to stop the firing from down on the ground.
Once that flag waved, I knew it was over then. It was bam, 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 bam. It was just because you had dozens of gunmen firing at the tower from all directions, and they slowly stopped.
And then on the ground, they're interpreting that as the gunman is surrendering.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have this word just into the newsroom. The sniper has been seen waving a white flag on the west side of the building. According to reports just into our newsroom, the sniper has been seen waving a white flag on the west side of the building.
So now it's over, right? It goes from silent when it first happened, which you still can't believe,
right,
to this rolling thunder of gunfire, and then it's just all over.
Yeah. These people are pouring out of their buildings, and all the reporters, everyone there is saying like people are just kind of milling about like zombies.
I don't remember anyone being articulate about what had happened. You know, just shock and awe. Kind of a blankness.
They looked like they were mesmerized. They weren't hugging each other. They weren't talking to each other. Most of them were just kind of milling, walking around.
So we sort of start to follow the victims, and we see Claire gets taken to the hospital.
Yeah, and she really didn't want them to cut her dress.
I was begging them not to cut off my dress because it was the first day I'd worn it. It was my first and only maternity dress. It was very beautiful. Tom had helped me pick it out.
So that day, there were 49 shot, 16 dead, and 33 injured.
Yeah.
And now we hear from our heroes in real life now, present day. So co-op guy is named Alan Crum. Yay! Constant hero bell.
He has a great story where the city of Austin tried to pay him for one day of deputized police work.
The chief of police offered me a check from the city of Austin for one day's deputized citizens' pay. I refused it, of course.
And now McCoy, who you have a love-hate relationship
Like
with,
the hot, maybe racist cop,
is feeling all this guilt that he wished he could have just why didn't I just run up to the tower and get her done?
Right. Yeah, he says that.
Go on in and get him done.
Go up and get him done, and Billy Speed'd still be alive.
Billy!
A lot of other, I'm sure. But
Didn't have to, we?
But he's like blaming himself for all these things, and it's like we're a hero that day, Hero Bell. Like,
and then like Martinez, like the big hero, he sort of talks about how like he tries to forget it. He doesn't want it to be like a part of his life.
Right.
I have tried to just forget it. I hate to see people get hurt, but you have to be realistic and know that these things are going to happen, and so you have to have the way how to cope with it, how to take care of the problems.
We love you, Martinez.
We love you, Martinez.
Heart eye emoji.
Then we get to the paperboy, the kid who was a paperboy, who we see him current day. He's like sitting in a lawn chair in his front yard. He's like, this guy right here is my cousin who was with me that day.
Right. And they're like, now I'm screaming.
Right.
He still has the shirt he wore that the bullet.
Oh my God. It's amazing.
It's amazing.
This is the shirt that I was wearing. And I must have weighed about 90 pounds when this shooting happened. You see that little tear right there? It's where the bullet just kind of...
And he really, like, they kind of drop it in, like, very low-key. They're just like, yeah, we haven't really spoken a lot since that day.
50 years. They haven't seen each other in 50 years.
And they, like, thank the documentary for helping
bringing them back together.
And, like, they were finally talking about it.
Had you folks not given us this opportunity, I would not have seen this cousin of mine. And, well, it's been a long time. I mean, almost 50 years.
Yeah.
So now we see hot nerd. What's his name in real life?
John Fox. How can you forget Foxy?
I know. John Fox and Claire reunite, and they're sitting at a picnic table, sort of talking about everything. And he's talking about how he feels guilty that he didn't go out sooner.
Right. Once again, a hero who's apologizing.
Right.
I feel guilty because I didn't go out soon enough. That you were.
Aren't we?
Yes. So I think guilt comes with events like this. Strange guilt.
Claire's not having it.
Claire's like, John,
Girl.
Foxy.
I know. Exactly.
Foxy, come on now.
And then we get Claire's story, and it's so beautiful. Do you want to take it?
So Rita and Claire. Rita's full name. Are you guys ready? Everybody sit down. Put down the eyeliner and mascara. You're going to have to reapply it.
Gather your bells.
Pull over.
I know.
If you're driving especially. Rita's name is Rita Star Pattern.
I know.
She's an actual like angelic being.
I know.
There's part of me that's like, did Rita really exist? Was she just like this like spiritual being?
Claire says the same thing. So after the shooting, Rita came to visit Claire once in the hospital and brought her a beautiful painting.
I was in intensive care for 7 weeks. Rita came to see me when I was in the hospital. She came and brought me a painting she had done. I was just, incredibly touched by her bringing that. And I think that's the only time we saw each other after that.
Even in the animation, it's just like, I want that. It's this beautiful, like just this blues and greens and just like
It's
a gorgeous, like it's so colorful.
It's
and
probably
beautiful.
made by Marla's dad.
Probably. Can I just switch out the garbage bell?
Garbage. Yeah.
Garbage. And I'm just like, this is the hero bell. Don't taint it, Mark. Asshole.
So, but then they never see each other again. And they say, and Claire says that like she started to think that maybe Rita never existed, that she was like an angel.
Yeah. And she just says like, what she did was so selfless. And as time goes on, Claire realizes more and more really what she did to crawl out there and just hang out with her. And it's amazing that Rita wasn't shot.
I know.
Rita Star Pattern.
I know.
Star Pattern is her last name. You guys, it's Star Pattern.
And she died in 96.
She did.
And then we get Claire's story. So Claire lost the baby, and she was told that she would be able to have kids, but she wasn't able ever to get pregnant. So she adopted a boy from Ethiopia.
Sirak.
I adopted my child Sirak. He was born in Ethiopia, and I adopted him when he was 4, and he's now 27. I mean, Sirak was a wonderful child, and there are times, even though his skin is brown and mine's white, there are times when I absolutely cannot remember that he didn't come out of me.
And then she says, too, that, like, as much as she loves her son, Sirak, she started dreaming about her baby that, like, right after she lost the baby.
I dreamed about him from the beginning, and I still have dreams that I found him. And I have him, and I'm so happy. But then I look away or something, and he's gone.
Oh, I can't even imagine.
Yeah.
But then there's this really beautiful thing at the end where this documentary does a really good balance of not telling the shooter's story. And the way they do sort of tell his story is through Claire at the end, where she's reading the article. There's an article in the paper about him. I don't know when it's from, but she's reading it, and there's a picture of him as a 3-year-old boy, and she's like, look at that boy. I'm a teacher. I could never, this is my favorite age. Like, I could never hate that person.
There's a picture of him standing at 3 years old holding a rifle on either side on the beach. I just think of him, he was that 3-year-old who would have been sitting in my lap. I'm a teacher, and I love that age. So much promise and so much hope. How can I hate somebody like that? I can't hate him in spite of the incredible damage that he's done. I can't hate him. I just can't do that.
And then the filmmaker asks her,
do you forgive him?
I forgive him, yes. How can I not forgive? I've been forgiven so much.
Claire, girl, it's not the same.
Yeah, there is definitely, there was a moment in the middle, and I feel this in almost every documentary that we cover, where I'm like, do not end with forgiveness. Don't do it. Don't end with, don't forgive.
No.
Don't forgive.
No.
And then you see how, if Claire had held on to that anger, you see Claire now, she's so healthy, and she's so loving, and she's so happy and at peace, that if she had held on to that anger, it just wouldn't have, all it would have hurt is her.
Yeah.
And
the thing is, they don't end on forgiveness. Another Hamilton reference. They end on with Walter Cronkite saying that the shooter's crime is society's crime.
Yeah, and as they're playing that, they're showing all of the images of Columbine and Sandy Hook. And
right.
It seems likely that Charles Joseph Whitman's crime was society's crime. This is Walter Cronkite. Good night.
Girl, we did it. We got through it.
Did it.
We did it.
This is just so reminiscent of The Keepers for me.
I know.
Just
I was thinking about that when we were talking about forgiveness in the end.
Total heroes.
Can you imagine? Girl, where can the people find us?
At True Crime Obsess on Twitter, and throw in a hashtag Get Obsessed while you're at it.
Don't forget to do that.
Don't forget.
And truecrimeobsessed.com, where you can see all of our episodes, and you can check out the calendar for all of the episodes we have up through March. Which reminds me, we are changing next week's episode. We told you it was subject to change.
Yeah.
We didn't think that the one that we had next week, it was Who Killed the Electric Car. We didn't think it was true crimey enough.
Yeah, I was like, Patrick, where's the crime?
I know.
What are we doing here?
So we are going to do My Friend Rockefeller instead. And you can find, on the website, you can find where you can find the movie.
If you like the woman who wasn't there.
Yeah, this is one of those where it's just bonkers people pretending to be other people and swindling people out of money.
I love it.
Love it.
Love it.
Where can they find you, girl?
At Jillian with a G on the Twitter and the Instagram.
You can find me at Patrick Hines on the Twitter and at Patrick Hines _ on the Instagram. So here is the trailer for My Friend Rockefeller. Stay tuned for our amazing outtakes. And I know, can you believe we have funny outtakes from today? But we do.
Yeah.
And then our palate cleanser this week is from...
Finally, from Hamilton.
Dun,
God.
dun, 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 dun. Doo-doo-doo-doo. Bye.
Bye.
He introduced himself as Christopher Crowe.
We knew him as Christopher Chichester.
In Baltimore, his name was Chip Smith.
This is Clark Rockefeller. He's the new neighbor.
This case is like one of those 500-piece jigsaw puzzles.
He called my father Dad and my mother. So he would be like a brother to me and like a son to my mother and father.
Do I miss Clark? Not anymore. Not since I read the news. Wow.
Clark told us that Helmut Kohl was staying with him that Sunday.
And too bad you won't be here next week because Britney Spears is visiting me next week. Now, most people would hear that and just go, dude. Instead, I said, oh, I'm sorry, I'm not going to be here for Britney either.
He got a card under the name Clark Rockefeller under your credit card account?
Yes. I agreed to marry him, and I was loyal.
Did you love him?
Yes, I did.
Did you believe he loved you?
Yes.
He says, I have this aunt, Blanchette. You may have heard of her. She started that little old museum on 53rd Street. MoMA, right? It turns out that I've inherited a few paintings. And I said, okay, well, what are their names? And he said, have you ever heard of Jackson Pollock?
How shocked must this guy have been to realize that people he'd known decades ago, places he'd been decades ago, were now coming back to claim him.
You made a kind of a fool of a lot of people who...
Walter, I never, ever meant to make a fool of anyone.
When I was with him, I thought I was with the fanciest person I'd ever met. But the truth is, I was with perhaps the saddest, scariest, lowest, most degraded person I'd ever met.
Clark was the writer, he was the producer, he was the director, he was the makeup artist, he was the costume designer, he was the set designer, and he was the actor, of this movie that was Clark Rockefeller.
Is that too loud?
No, I'm not the one who screams into the microphone.
I do scream into the microphone.
As
Thank you very much.
That one iTunes review. I'm a danger to society, and you scream too much into the microphone.
I wonder if he likes gay people or women.
Neither.
No.
He just likes himself.
Yeah.
Oh, Martinez.
Humana. So we meet Hot Nerd in Glasses.
Two guys playing chess listening to Top 40.
Oh my God. I was like, are they going to make out? Is this the thing that's going to happen?
It's a different kind of movie. It's not that kind of movie, Patrick.
Did you call him Hot Nerd on your own?
No.
Oh, I was going to be so proud.
No.
Do you know what I have in my notes?
What?
Boys are so stupid.
Well, can't argue with that. When you're right, you're right.
He actually says, he's like, this isn't pretty, or something like that.
Yeah, and I hate to say it, but I gave him the Italian digit. I'm like, the Italian digit? Are you kidding me?
And then we meet another guy, Brian Ellison, who was
his name is Brian.
No, his name is Brian.
It is?
They say Brian. I even spelled it out right. How dare you?
I have it written as Brian. It's probably my autocorrect or whatever, my spell check. Sorry, I take it back. That was really bitchy of me. I apologize.
The other part where McCoy says, I wasn't going to let anybody make me dead.
All right, I see you, McConaughey. I see you over there. Not gonna make it. Also, the store's across the street. They know what's happening.
Right. You're not gonna get in trouble for not coming back from your lunch break.
No one's like, oh, there's that shooter. You know what? Alan Crum. His lunch break ended 7 minutes ago. Somebody write him up. He was really on the fast track to Employee of the Month until today. TikTok. Alan
Meanwhile,
Crum.
he is out saving the world.
Meanwhile, you guys. Martinez.
Immigrants, you get the job done.
I'm obsessed with you.
I know.
And now I'm obsessed with you for a Hamilton reference. Thank you.
We don't know that he's an immigrant, by the way.
No.
Speaking of racism.
But I just am always here for a reference.
I know.
Eliza, I don't have $1 to my name, an acre of land, a troop to command, $1 of fame. All I have is my honor, a tolerance for pain, a couple of college credits, and my top-notch brain. Insane, your family brings out a different side of me. Peggy confides in me, Angelica tried to take a bite of me. No stress, my love for you is never in doubt. We'll get a little place in Harlem and we'll figure it out. I've been living without a family since I was a child. My father left, my mother died. I grew up buck wild, but I'll never forget my mother's face, that was real. As long as I'm alive, Eliza, I swear to God you'll never